Hey guys, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. I was trying to come up with some projects for us today and I decided let's do something that we can use for the fall. So we're going to draw this super cute cartoon owl and it's going to be really easy. It's going to end up looking something like this. Your decorations might be different if you want them to be. So you need a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser, or the back of your pencil eraser will work. Grab your supplies, put me on pause, grab your supplies, and come on back. All right, I'm going to move my guide, and we're going to start. Our paper's going to be vertical today, and we're going to start with our pencil. In the center of the paper, we're going to draw a long, skinny rectangle, and the top part is going to have a slightly arced end to it. So, up at the top, let's start with that. You're just going to plant your wrist and move your hand back and forth, about like that. When you plant your wrist, that's going to force your hand to just go in that natural direction that it goes in. From there, touch your pencil down to the edge of that arc and just pull your arm right down using your whole arm. That'll help you get a nice little straight line there. Same thing on the other side. Touch it to that edge and pull your arm right down. And then go ahead, back and forth, close off that rectangle. Inside that rectangle, we need the belly of our cute owl, and we're going to do that with some big ovals. The oval is going to extend down below that rectangle and come 3/4 of the way up. So start at the top there. So it's going to start right about here. And we're just going to go down and around and back. When you use your whole arm like I'm doing, go around and around a few times, get that shape. When you use your whole arm, it's easier to get that shape. Now for our decorations on our owl, we need some more ovals. So inside that oval, just space it over about 1/4 of an inch or so, and down and around you go. Same deal, you can go around a few times. Throw the idea that it's going to be perfect right out the window. See how mine, I've got some lines going in, some lines going out. We're not sweating it. This is a fun one, and we're just creating like guides for our decorations. Inside that oval, one more oval, down and around. The only part of my body that is touching is this part of my hand. The rest of my arm is nice and loose, and I'm moving it, the whole arm, from my shoulder. Round and round I go. All right, let's go back up to the tippy top. We need to add in some cute little triangles for our owl's ears. So we're just going to add in a triangle at the top there, planting my wrist and just using my fingers for this. Another triangle on the other side, so one on the left, one on the right. In the middle, middle-ish, around here, we're going to add 3 little lines that are just kind of silly, like this. They almost look like a little arrow pointing down at the top of the head there. And on the top of those, teeny tiny little circles. Now that's just a fun little decoration. You can choose to have that, or if you wanted to, you could give your owl some little jiggy-jaggy hair up there, fur, if you wanted to do that. All right, moving on to the forehead of our owl, we're going to create an arced triangle. So we're going to plant our wrist back and forth and create a nice little arc. You can rotate your paper to do this other side. I'm just kind of scooching over. If they don't meet up, that's all right. Just kind of line them up. Inside that, let's do another one, just a little mimicking one. I'm going to move my hand up this way so you can see what I'm up to. That'll give us some guides for our decorations. Let's go down and work on the eyes. We're going to create the shape of our eyes with 2 ovals or circles. So off to the left, let's start there. Plant your wrist, round and round you go for that side. And then just off the bottom of it, do a smaller one. Same thing on the other side. Round and round we go. And off the bottom, a smaller one. Now we're going to create little connecting triangles to connect those circles together. So this whole shape will become our eye. Inside that first circle that we drew, let's go ahead and add in a circle for the eye. I like to put mine more centered toward the middle. They look super, I don't know, kind of cute and ditzy when their eyes are close together when you're drawing a cartoon owl. So that's what I'm choosing to do. You can put that circle, their eyes, wherever your heart desires. So I'm giving you the basics, and I hope you play with it because it's kind of fun to play with different expressions and decorations. All right, so we've got this outside shape that is going to become our eye. Let's go ahead and draw around that a mimicking shape. We're just kind of following that guide that we created. We'll use that to add in some decorations as well. All right, so we've got our eyes. Now off of our eyes, just a little bit down, we are going to draw like a V shape. It goes like this, just like that. And at the end of each side of the V, we're going to give it a little arc, like that. Kind of looking like droop. And inside that V, we're going to add an oval and an oval for the nose. All right, moving on to our wings. Our little guy, his wings are folded kind of in front of his tummy, so we're going to do that with some ovals. We're going to do one oval here. And another oval here. They're pointed in toward each other, and they're going to end up overlapping. Round and round you go for those ovals. Don't sweat it too hard. Don't think too much, okay? It's getting really dark outside, and I'm losing my light. I hope you can see okay. I think it's going to storm. All right, so from our rectangle, we're going to have a shape, a connecting triangle from this tippy top here, connecting down to that wing that we just drew. We're just going to add in a line or a little arc there. Same thing on this side, just like that. All right, now on the ends of these little ovals, we're going to add some circles that will just give them some cute little scalloped edges when we draw around them. So on this wing, we're going to add maybe 4 of those, and there'll be one here. Plant your wrist, and just with your fingers, round and round you go. Here comes the rain. Can you hear it? All right, one here and one more up here. Now where you've got that little gap, you're just going to add in a little connecting triangle. There and there. And then up here, another little diagonal line. It'd be almost like a Y. Same thing on this other side. Let's start with that little Y shape up there. And then let's add in some little circles over here. Now, if they overlap, just like that overlaps, you can kind of skip that space and go down to where they might not overlap. So imagine you've got one circle there, give it some space for another circle there, but you won't see it. And another circle there, you can maybe draw that one in nice and light. And one more. All right, so those will be some cute little scalloped wings. At the base of our rectangle, we're going to add in 2 circles on either side. So let's start on this side. They're going to be about that big. So plant your wrist, just use your fingers. Round and round and round you go with those fingers. Now as you go around, you end up with a really nice circular shape. Go ahead and do that on both sides of that body oval. 2 there, 2 there. And just like we did up here, where we did some connecting triangles, we're going to do the same thing down here, but this time we're going to arc them out this way. So we're going to start kind of up by that wing and arc our triangle down to that circle and extend it out a little bit. So our little owl will almost look like she's wearing a dress. So from there, go ahead and arc it down, just like that. All right. Now let's add in our little owl's feet. I like to think of these like the letter Y. So off of this oval body, we're just going to add one Y. See that shape there? It's like a little triangle with a line coming off, or the letter Y. And then the other side, I just flip that Y. So I do a diagonal line going the opposite direction and connect it up. Then you just add in some cute little lines on either side. They would make almost like a triangle, but we don't need to make that triangle because these are what their little talons are actually going to look like on our pretend owl. Okay, we could stop here and switch right to our marker, but because we're learning, I'm going to have us do some of our decorations with pencil and then switch over. So where we drew this arced line, we're going to connect that over into and tuck it in between those circles. So this circle gives us the spacer, and it also gives us the angle there. Same thing on the other side. If you want to rotate your paper and draw that with an arc, you can. Boy, the weather just changed so dramatically here. It was crazy. When I started this, it was bright and sunny, and now it is storming. Okay, let's go up to these little wings. Actually, you know what? Let's switch to our marker, because then we'll be able to see what we're up to, and then we can go back in, and you can either use pencil or marker to add in your details. So let's switch to our marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You can use whatever you have at home, just as long as you can't erase it. That's the key here. And let's start right in front of this ear and go around this little arc that was the top of our original rectangle, over to that ear, and we'll go up the ear and down the ear. Now we're going to hop onto that connecting arced triangle, and then follow that down and around that oval onto our connecting triangle, and then we're going to come up the edges of each of these circles, and you'll see where that little scalloped wing comes in. Super duper cute. Now, like I mentioned before, you're just going to follow along, get all of the scallops onto that connecting triangle, and then where we had that little Y shape there, add that in. Like I mentioned before, you can have all kinds of decorations, so you could use this as a base and just have fun with what you put in your owl. So let's go up to the top again and go over this ear, around those edges, onto that connecting triangle, down around that side of the oval. Oh, I forgot our connecting shapes here. So just connect them over and go around. Now where they overlap, you're going to tuck this wing behind that wing. So you're not going to draw around those. When you come up here, draw around that. Add in a little connecting triangle there. Up and add in your angle. So it almost looks like their little hands are like this. All right, let's go down here. We're going to draw down that arced connecting triangle, over here, and stop when you get to this body oval. Same thing over here. This would be like the little back feathers around that, and stop when you get to that oval that we drew. Now let's draw in that oval. We are going to draw around each oval that we drew and skip the parts that are going to be behind the wings. So one here, one here. I'm also going to skip the part that's going to be behind the beak. So actually, let's draw that beak now. We'll go over the arc, down the V, back up the arc, like that. And we're not going to draw that oval that comes in there. All right, down this oval, down and around, down by our little legs, and back up. All right, skip where it goes over the wing and go back up. So you're going to have this like empty space. That pushes the belly behind the wing there. All right, then you can go over those ovals that are in the middle. One there and one there. Lightning, thunder, it's crazy here. Okay, we've got that. Now let's go ahead and go over our little feet. Do the Y, add in your little prongs on each side. Same thing on the other side, tracing right over what you drew. You've done the heavy lifting, now we're just adding in the marker and making it final. Let's go back up to the tippy top. We'll go around those circles and over our little arrow shape. It's kind of like some feathers that went awry there. And then we'll draw right over all of this as well. That side and then that side. Now for the eyes. These shapes, we are drawing, let's start on the inside, around that circle, onto the connecting shape, around the bottom circle, back up and around. So we used those two shapes, their connectors, to give us that wonky shaped eye. Let's do around the same thing on the other side. Around and around we go. Just like that. And then on the inside, you can just draw right around your little eye circle. Now we can draw our little mimicking lines. Down and around we go. Same thing on the other side. Down around we go. Very good. Okay, so from here we've got our base of an owl. Now, if we wanted to, we can add all kinds of little decorations. Oop, let's add in the nostrils. Just fill those in. I get talking and I lose track of where I am. Okay, so on my guide, I had little lines up here at the tippy top. So if you want to have those, you could do those. You can make them close together or far apart. So go ahead and do those if that's the design that you want. You're just simply drawing a straight little line connecting one side to the other. Another decoration that I like to use is simple little dots with my marker. Go ahead and do that if you'd like. All right. Now for the eyes, around the eyes, I like to do little dots that go like around the edges here. You can do that. Or if you wanted to, you could give your little guy like eyelashes or some fun little feathers that go like that. So there's options. You could do that, or you could do little dots. Play with it. They're lots of fun. You can come up with all kinds of different designs to do. You could do little scallops around the edges there, just like where you kind of go like that around your eye shape. Super cute. If you end up with more space in between, like I did with my guide, you can connect them with little lines or whatever you want to do. All right, so in this shape, I add little, just those simple connecting lines again. Again, do whatever your heart desires. You can go all the way around, you can go 3/4 of the way around. Every detail that you add adds some interest, and it also gives some personality. So you'll see if you just go like 3/4 of the way around, it kind of changes the tone of your owl. I think that's what makes me draw these things over and over and over again, because they're fun and each little thing you do just changes it and you have a whole new thing. Now if you have a little line, see how I did right there where my line went into my eye? I'm not going to stress about that. For one, it's a cartoon. For two, you can simply just go over that inside line and expand it. And look, that changes the character there too. So if that happens to you, and it's bound to happen, we are human, just go over that inside line and make it a little bit thicker and catch all those little spots that overlapped there. No big deal. Okay, let's move on to the inside little belly part. Let's do around this oval here, where we've got those two ovals that are close together. Let's go ahead and do those little connecting lines like we did up here, all the way around, down and around you go. Now you could do the connecting lines, you can do the little dots on the outside, you could do scallops, you could do little V's, you could do little things like this in the middle part here if you wanted to. All kinds of fun stuff. Get creative. Give your owl some personality. The storm is moving on. It's starting to lighten back up in my studio. So crazy. All right, around the base here, I like to do just simple little, where I take my marker and I touch and I flick down around, and then if you do it that way, it gets skinnier toward the end and it gives it a little bit more personality and a little bit of motion. So I'm doing that along those scalloped edges there. And if you wanted to, you could add little dots at the ends of those. I always find the more things I add, the cuter it is. So if you wanted to add dots, you could do every other one. You could do every one. I'm going to do just a few just to give the idea there. I don't want to take up your whole day here. Okay, around this circle here, actually this outside circle, let's add some of those cute little scallops so you've got that as a reference. We'll just go out and around that outside oval. You're skipping where it goes over your wing, and you're going to stop when you get to this part. This adds a cute little detail. Almost makes me feel like our owl is wearing an apron back up here. And if you wanted to add little dots in between here, you could do that. But for now, hope the power doesn't go out. It just flickered. Am I still connected? All right, still connected. Inside this wing, let's add a detail where we mimic where we had that scallop that we created with our circle. We're just going to kind of mimic that design that we had there. Same thing on this side. You'll have to just kind of look where you had your circles drawn, because that one's kind of hidden. Now when I get to the bottom here, I always like to just kind of come up and give it a little curlicue and go back down. If that feels like too much, don't do it. Or try it with your pencil and then go over it. But I think you could do it. It's kind of like the letter C. If you want to think of it that way, you're creating a C shape there. Now, another thing I do on my wings is I'll just go back where we drew that scallop. Let's do another version of that so we can make that thick. You can color that in, fill that in, or if you wanted to, you could give it the little connecting lines. Same thing on the other side. Over it you go, and then kind of fill that in. Now if you wanted to, you could do little lines like this off the edges of your fingers. They look super cute. I'll give you an idea there, just a few every once in a while. This hand would be on top, so do that one, and then on this one you would just do the few that you can see. You can add in the little dots or not. Again, you play with this, it's fun. If you wanted to, on your wings, you could add in some straight lines here. Kind of using that same thing where you touch and flick, and then you can connect them with some little arcs or put some little dots at the end of them. So you can play around with whatever you want to put in these little wings. And if you want to color them, they're super cute there too. All right, one last detail and then we'll get on with our days. Let's do 3 little circles where our little scallops kind of meet up. If it makes you nervous to draw this stuff with your marker, switch to your pencil and then trace over it. But here you have a cute little owl. You can use it for decorations for the fall. Literally, you can make this little guy look like a million different owls. You could, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you want to try another one of those, let me know. I'll come up with some other ideas for you. But play with it. It's super fun. Thanks for drawing with me today. I hope you're well, getting ready for your school year or whatever you're up to. Send me your drawings. You can post them in the comments below if you're watching on Facebook, or you can email them to me if you're watching on YouTube. And I will see you next week. Oh, you know what? We need to erase. Go ahead and erase all your pencil. I'm not going to keep you on hold for that, but it'll end up looking something like this. You can find me, Rebecca Ink, Facebook and YouTube, at Rebecca Ink on Instagram. And I will see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye.